The Building Brands Marketing Podcast is dedicated to exploring the journeys of industry leaders who have successfully built a brand. Join me, Robert Breuer, president of Building Brands Marketing, and an entrepreneur who's successfully scaled multiple brands as we dive deep into the strategies, challenges, and insights that have shaped the success of industry leaders and provide you with the resources you need to do the same. Building Brands Marketing is a full-service marketing agency specializing in crafting customized marketing strategies for service-based businesses with the creative powerhouse to drive real results. Welcome to the Building Brands Podcast. All right, welcome to the Legal Leaders series on the Building Brands Podcast. I'm excited to have Yasmine Smith, managing and founding partner with Abundance Law, here with me today. So Yasmine, welcome.
Thank you. So happy to be here.
Absolutely. Okay, so the name Abundance Law is unique, carries a strong message. I love it. It's a strong statement. So what inspired you to choose this name, and how does it reflect your firm's approach to serving clients?
For sure. Well, first of all, I was surprised that it was still available. That was the first thing.
Definitely.
But, I wanted something that reflected a sense of safety, a sense of what law could be, necessarily what law traditionally, historically is thought of. And, most people don't like to come to us lawyers. It's like us and the tow truck man. They do not, they do not usually like to see us coming. So I wanted to create a space where people thought it wasn't scary, that you were able to get representation here, and that representation doesn't necessarily be having to have a lawyer necessarily isn't a bad thing. It's about making sure that you're okay and helping you welcome abundance into your life.
I love that. So how do you think that shifting the perception of legal services from something scary and intimidating to something empowering has influenced your client relationships and brand loyalty?
Definitely. I mean, it's made my clients happier clients. And who doesn't like to hear that, right? I think when you allow someone the space and the ability to really take charge, really take the reins over whatever life is throwing at them at that moment, and empowering them to take that space, they're a better teammate. They're going to be more energized, more confident, more excited about the process you're leading them into. So shifting that small mental space in their mind to think, no, this is also for me, and this is a good thing, and I'm being helped, and I get to help in this process, makes everybody's job a whole lot easier.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing, Yasmine, is it's a real personalized approach, client-centric, I would say, right?
Very much
How
so.
does that work as a core part of your brand as your firm grows and develops over time? How do you keep that same client-centric approach?
That is a great question, and something we really wrestled with as we continue to expand. I was the attorney. It's still, 24/7, 365. You get Yaz. You call that number.
Yeah.
It's Yaz picking up the phone. But that's not sustainable. If you want to help more people, you have to learn how to delegate. You have to learn how to trust your teammates. And the way that I'm able to build trust with my teammates is they understand very, very clearly who we are as a brand. It was about
Mm-hmm.
making sure that I had our brand guidelines, that I had our firm mentality, morality, North Star on paper written down, and that I practice what I preach. My staff comes with me to my events. They come with me to the consultations. They come with me to the hearings. They see me interact with clients and with colleagues and with judges, and they understand, the expectation of them, and that is not only to be diligent, but to be empathetic, to be loving, to be caring, to be human, and so it reflects. So no matter who you call at Abundance, you're going to get that yazzle dazzle sprinkle, but they'll make sure that you're treated, with empathy and love and kindness, and they'll get me to you as quickly as is feasible.
Yeah. It sounds like it's really embedded in the core values over there at Abundance Law. This is something that's not just for lawyers, but to entrepreneurs in general, service-based businesses. It's something that's near and dear to them. Most of us service-based business owners, we start out and typically it's just us or just us
Mm-hmm.
and one other person, maybe a close friend, a family member,
Yeah.
helped you get it off the ground. And at that point, it's a lot easier to control the output of the day-to-day operations because it's largely dependent on you. And then as we start to scale and we get other subject matter experts involved in the business, we have to figure out a way to scale that same level of service, but it can't
Mm-hmm.
just be us anymore. And this is an ongoing challenge everybody's dealing with. One of the things that I always preach to business owners is the importance of getting everything out of our head. When we
Mm-hmm.
start, a lot of times, a lot of our processes, our situational conversations, things of that nature, are all kind of our own intellectual property inside of our head. And we
Right.
have to get
Right.
these SOPs on paper. We have to get some of our processes documented, workflow processes, those sort of things. So becomes more scalable for a new person to come in, and we don't have to then spend, you know, 200 man
So much
hours.
time. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just giving them all the,
Saying the exact same thing when
it,
you have consultations every day, sweetheart. Film the consultation, put it in an SOP. Everything that you do, right, is an SOP, from how you check your emails to how you schedule your follow ups to how you write your pleadings, in my case, or you provide your service provision, to when you post, how you post, what events you, all of those things that you're doing constantly on a day to day is a procedure, and it will save you
yeah,
so much time and money as you begin to scale if you just write it down, and better yet, share screen, record it so that you can just give someone a booklet and then help them along the way when they find gaps, or when they, because that's an obvious one, your SOPs are always evolving. So anytime you find that gap,
sure.
right then and there, I stop the meeting. Let's pull up the SOP. Let's now it's section 2.A.2.B. Like, let's go ahead
Yeah.
and input it. But it saves so much time when you can hand that over in confidence.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of tools out there now to make that process easier. Like I use MeetGeek personally. It's my AI note taker, and I love it. And
Mm-hmm.
I'll go in after a good training, and I'll pull the transcript
Mm-hmm.
retrospectively and go, hey, create an SOP, or also, and then I can have the video of the training to accompany it for the person that gets a little overwhelmed when they're looking at 15 or 20 written steps. So there's a lot of technology out here that can make that easier to do nowadays than, say, 15, 20 years ago.
Right.
uh, so we
Right.
have it
There's
a
no
little
excuse. There's
easier.
no excuse. There's no excuse anymore. You can tell an AI to do it at this point. You can download your video, download your transcript, and literally
Yeah,
say, please create me a 15-point plan. Now create a flow chart of that 15-point plan. Like, you can do all that.
exactly.
Just,
there's
you are empowered to do it. So do it.
there's no excuses. So
No
talking about
excuses.
back in the day, you
Mm.
graduated law school at 24, and you
Did.
co-founded a nonprofit focused on legal justice reform. I love this. Can you talk to me a
Yeah.
little bit about how your early career experiences helped shape your decision to launch Abundance Law and influenced its mission?
Definitely. I mean, I think everything, I almost see life as a video game, right? And you don't know what this level is supposed to do. But when you get to the further levels, all of a sudden that golden cup makes a whole lot of sense, right? You need it
Yeah,
now. So my life has just been picking up these random skill sets that in the moment seem like, what am I doing here, Lord? Why I don't know why I need to learn about disaster emergency response. I don't know why I need to learn about city budgets. I don't, but then at the end of the
sure.
day, it makes you this amazing, nuanced service provider. I think everything, not even my career, has built me to who I am as a child. First generation graduate. It taught me resilience. It taught me how to rub two pennies together and have a full course meal. Going to undergrad, graduating in 3 years, working three jobs while I did it, taught me time management, taught me about prioritization. One of those jobs being a waitress taught me customer service, knowing how to sell. Getting to law school taught me grit. It taught me how to get knocked down. It taught me how to lean into what you think is confusion, knowing that it's to make you stronger, and helping to start at this point, many nonprofits and helping them scale has taught me what it means to be a good service provider, what it means to be a good steward of sheep, what it means to wake up every day excited to serve somebody else. And that's exactly what I do in my profession. I think all entrepreneurs do it, right, in our own different ways. You're in the service industry. You're in direct client management, and all of those tool sets along the way has definitely benefited me.
Yeah. Well, one of the things about attorneys and law firms, everybody I speak with, they have a very similar journey to their marketing strategy, in that most everybody, well, I should say most successful law firms I speak with, they say, hey, it was more important to me to become an expert and just an absolute, really one of the best in my area at what I do, before I started thinking about branding and marketing and all these things, and, build that core competency, that confidence and being one of the best at what you do, and then start thinking about, hey, how to scale this. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of them all start with client referrals. That's one of the common ways. And I know that's been a big key driver of the growth at Abundance Law. So talk to me, beyond referrals, what marketing strategies or tactics have been most effective in growing Abundance Law's presence?
I would say definitely getting out there yourself. You are the chief marketer for a while there. And even when you scale, people want to come to you to get their service provision. So it means, yes, going to the networking events. It means going out and shaking hands. And every time you're having a conversation, you're reinstilling who you are, what your values are, what you can provide, how you provide those things. And you're authentic while you do it, because it's usually the people who are most aligned with you that naturally gravitate to you, that are your best clients. You don't have to be a different person. You can be exactly who you are in all of those spaces, and continuing to put your name out there. Go to the panels, go on podcasts, write the blog after you see that really interesting court case in the news. Just continue to put yourself out there. It's all about getting that camera. I know it's very weird. I think the Gen Zers grew up with the social media and the cameras all of the time. I think anybody that is older than that generation, it's still a little awkward to us. But you have to do it. Your competition is doing it. So when you walk into that building and you're going to that event, pull out your camera, point to the sign, tag them when you post it. Now you're not just in front of your base, you're in front of their base. It's about doing all those small things consistently that really make a difference.
Yeah, I love that. And if it's not your cup of tea, finding someone that it is,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the best, ironically, at living in social media at every moment. Now, my
Uh-huh.
wife, who's also involved in, a business with me, that's her
Mm-hmm.
bread and butter. It's what she's done for 15 years. And she reminds me sometimes, hey, we have to stop. We have to get a photo. Let's
Oh,
get a
yes.
video right here. We just walked in the event. The backdrop's right here. We got to stop and
Mm-hmm.
get a picture for Instagram, that sort of stuff. It's one of the things that I talk to younger students about a lot, is the fact that, and I'll explain this in greater detail in a second, work-life balance does not exist. And what I am not
Oh,
saying
I'm the same way.
is, yeah, I am not saying that never take a mental break from work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not suggesting that. What I mean by that is, there are lots of opportunities outside of, 8 to 5, where you can influence your personal brand, which then can leverage a corporate brand. Of course, if you're an entrepreneur, but even if you're not an entrepreneur, it can make yourself a more valuable asset, a more desirable asset. I know if I'm hiring a project manager or a consultant who's going to be in a revenue based position, and I see
Mm-hmm.
their ability to network in the community and their ability to build relationships, and they have that natural it factor that I cannot teach, then
Mm-hmm.
they're a little bit higher on my prospect list, because
Definitely.
I see the potential there. They
Definitely.
don't have a limited ceiling, and so I think there's this idea that I'm constantly influencing my personal brand. Something as simple as going out to HEB to grab groceries. Hey,
Right?
I
Yep.
I have to be ready if I run into someone to say
Yes.
hi, to be nice. Also, this is an opportunity for me to continue to nurture that relationship. And at the end of the day, if I put out good energy into my community into the
Exactly.
people that surround me, that positive
Exactly.
energy tends to come back a lot, especially in smaller communities, you know,
Right.
when you're talking about where you're really likely to see people on an ongoing basis, you know.
Right.
Um
I mean, and
so
it speaks to just, again, what you put out is what you get in. And the work balance, I also am not a huge fan of that framing. For me, I think, and I'm extremely blessed in this respect, but for me, I genuinely love what I do, right? So
mhm,
what I do is my ministry. It is my life. All of the things that
yeah.
encompass my life are my life, and this is one of those nuances. And and it doesn't have to be icky. It doesn't have to be something you don't like. If you like going fishing, go fishing. When you catch one of those bad boys, take a picture, make it a meme. If you like to sew,
Yeah.
do that. I just happen to love community service work. So I am volunteering constantly. And when I'm out there, giving out that blanket or giving out that hot meal, I'm making sure to say, hey, we're taking care of others. Are you okay? Do you have your will and estate? Or do you have a business?
Yeah.
Do you have in-house counsel? It's just about threading in organically into conversations you're already having. I'll be in an elevator before I get off the elevator. Is everybody okay in here? Does anybody need an attorney? Not that type of
Yeah.
attorney. It is. Okay,
Yeah.
y'all have a wonderful day, and then keep it going.
I love it. You know, find the thing that's important to you. I know to you, serving your community and various service initiatives has been a big part of your, not just your career, but your personal life as well.
Hmm.
Um, I know that you've worked with helping secure funding for in-house counsel for incarcerated individuals. I mean, you have a
Yeah.
background that's pretty extensive in this area of serving your community. So, how does your professional work align with your commitment to service?
That's a great question. I think I'm really fortunate because I know what my prime directive is. I'm a little bit of a Trekkie. I know what my prime directive is, and that's to serve others. It's to help others. And so whatever I do, I show up to my assignment and I try to do it the best. In the best capacity I can. And at this point, I'm so fortunate because my assignments call me, right? They are brought to me. I need help with X. And it just so happens that a lot of that needing help with is very applicable to my ability to read and write really well. So
Hmm.
I find ways to help my community with the talents that I have been given. So with the detainees, right? For some reason, Travis County did not have attorneys at hearings for detainees. I feel like that's a violation of a constitutional right. um, and so that meant that I got to mobilize my community. I got to write county law. I got to get that county law 15.5 mil, one of the biggest, largest investments at one time the county's done. And there are
Very cool.
attorneys right now, like literally, it blows my mind, like right now that are in that jail that wouldn't be there otherwise. And I take that type of lens of how can I be most helpful with the tools I've been given to every situation, and leaning into each one of those different experiences as a chance to learn and as a chance to become a better human.
Love it. Trailblazer, game changer, community shifter. You know, I love it. And I want to take a step back actually, talking
Okay.
about the personal brand and the corporate brand and the intertwinement between the two and influence upon
Hmm.
one another. So I know you're incredibly humble and you probably wouldn't say it if I didn't bring it up. So I will. You were awarded the NAACP award last year in 2024. So talk to
I
me, how did that
was.
recognition impact you and your firm's mission, even though that's a personal achievement?
For sure. So, first of all, I've gotten other awards, but this was my first award where they were awarding me for being a lawyer. Like you gotten the awards for like being the community advocate and
Yeah.
like helping systems change, which is beautiful and great, and I love them all equally. But this was my first time of someone seeing me as a savant in the industry that is my passion to master. So it was a different level of acknowledgement that I hadn't felt before. So first
Yeah.
of all, it poured into me to say, okay, I am doing the things. Like I know I've been working really hard. Like yes, people see me working really hard.
Yeah.
So it was a good like booster, but it also meant that again, always be out there, go to the events. It means that I was in front of a large gallery of people, a very large space, people that wouldn't have known otherwise either who I am or that I was a lawyer, not just the community advocate. So it allowed me to really get abundance out there and tie in the fact that abundance and our client-centered approach and our empathetic approach and our loving nature isn't something I just say. It's something that we practice and that we do consistently.
Yeah, there's a lot of authenticity there, right? And people can sense that. And people that do business with service-based subject matter experts, they do business with them because of two primary reasons, right? First, they trust them that they are an
Mm.
expert, knowledgeable, they can help them in that area. Secondly, it's really just because they like them. Like they
Yeah.
like them, they can relate to them. They're like, hey, this is the person. When you move to a new community, everybody wants a guy or a gal. Hey, I want to get my mechanic, my hairdresser. I want to get,
Right, right.
and so people want to have a relationship component,
They
to
do.
their service-based subject matter expert.
They
And I
do.
think that there's a with you in your case, there's a consistency component to this. So continuing to serve your community because it's what you love to do. And there's nothing to be ashamed about in the fact that, hey, some of those efforts over the years ended up creating some fruits that you're able to eat from a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and it may have not have been the original intention, but that's a great additional thing to look back on and go, hey, in addition to me getting all this gratification of, love language of service and so on and so forth, there was some fruits that came from that as well that helped influence my corporate brand. And see, the reason I bring that up is myself, I'm a service person as well. I try to serve a lot in my community. Well, one of the things that is interesting um, to the foundation of building brands marketing is I've been involved in Rotary for a very long time, a
Okay.
worldwide organization. I'm actually
Mm-hmm.
currently the president of Victoria Rotary, and
Okay, look
a
who's
lot
being
of
humble.
and anyway, a lot of our first clients at Building Brands Marketing had, whether they were Rotarians, fellow Rotarians, or they were connections and introductions that were made through Rotary, that
Mm-hmm.
that was a lot of our first clients. And so, you know, didn't know, 5-6 years prior when I joined Rotary that, hey, this would be a lot of relationships that later on, when I start my own marketing agency, would end up turning into either client referrals or clients themselves. But
Right.
that's the thing that can happen from authenticity and genuine, just, hey, I'm doing
Exactly.
this because of the right reasons and putting positive energy into this. Positivity comes back a lot of times in unintended
Exactly.
forms.
Exactly. I mean, if you really show up every day, you try your best, you're authentic, your North Star, your morality is in check, and you really are trying to pour into others, again, it comes back around. And that's why the work-life balance, all of this is a myth. You live your life as a good human, you do your best, you show up, and whatever you do, whatever you put into it, it'll come back.
Yeah, we limit ourselves when we try to draw boundaries or lines in the
Right.
sand. Hey, this is that, this is this. It's all one.
Yeah.
It's all one. Our personal brand is our corporate brand. The two are intertwined, and
Right.
that's reality. So this has been great, Yasmine. Tell me, what advice would you give to attorneys or entrepreneurs looking to build a brand themselves?
Mm, consistency. And I'm speaking to myself as well. Consistency. Put it out there. It doesn't have to be perfect, team. I know, especially in this day and age, everything's photoshopped and airbrushed and you got your cue cards. No, just put up your camera, start posting, start getting comfortable, take people along for the ride with you. They want to see you grow. They want to be part of your team during that. Then get good at it, right? Don't always look for that next level to excel, but you're not going to get anywhere not getting out there. You're not going to get anywhere by not doing it. Marketing, communications, even the industry you're in to provide your service, it takes practice. It takes you actually doing the things in order to get good at the things. So do the things, and give yourself grace while you're doing things.
Yasmine, this has been incredible. This has been awesome having you on the podcast. So tell the listeners and viewers, where can we find you online?
So for sure, you can go to abundancelaw.net, and then we are Abundance Law ATX on your socials.
Awesome. Well, thank you again. For those that are tuning in, like, share, subscribe if you like what you heard. Thanks for listening or viewing. And Yasmine, thank you for being on the Building Brands podcast. It's been an absolute pleasure today.
You as well. All right. Bye, team.